Hey guys, I'm E-House. I'm here with my good friend Andre, and you're watching another episode of SpeedSim. And today we're looking at the Armorer Works lineup of pistols.
And this is just our first impressions.
Yes, we have unfortunately not fielded these for any extended period of time yet. They are kind of new, so we're just going to be talking about what we see with them, some of the stuff that you might be able to expect getting out of the box, and potentially even some of the compatibility things.
Exactly. All right, so just go ahead and dive right in.
I mean, my opinion on these, just from handling them, I've handled, Andre, obviously being a good friend of mine, I've gotten to fondle all of his Hi Capas and all the custom builds. So what I can compare just right out of the box with these is the hammer spring on these does seem to be a good bit stiffer than a lot of the standard out of the box hammer springs you're used to from like WE and KJW Hi Capas. If I were to compare these to other Hi Capas on the market, I think these are WE OEM'd. These are OEM'd by WE, WeTech, whatever you want to call them. But from what I've seen, these seem to be a little bit more consistently well fitted and well put together than the normal WE offerings. And I think that might have to do with the fact that Armorer Works contracts WE to make the stuff to Armorer Works spec. That's why these are a little more expensive than some of the WE Hi Capas, because they spend more time with the fitting and all that. Correct. And I think that's reflective. So if I'd compare these to quality-wise, one of the other Hi Capas on the market, I would say it's maybe on par or a little above Kyle's KJW Accelerator Hi Capa, which is a pretty good Hi Capa overall. So, trigger pull on these, if you fired a lot of real handguns like I have, it's still not quite a realistic trigger pull, but it's very crisp, and what's nice is the reset is audible. Not as much tactile, but there is an audible reset, and it's pretty short, and then there's not a ton of slack on the trigger, and it's a pretty clean break, and there's no real over travel. So it's a pretty short audible reset. There's not much slack right after the reset, and then it's a pretty clean break. So the trigger is, again, a lot better than a lot of the other airsoft pistols I found in the market out of the box. Of course, you can upgrade it if you really want to. So I think the fit and finish and the features that it comes with, one of my favorite being the sights. So the sights here are a green fiber optic up front and 2 orange fiber optics on the back. And again, if you've shot a lot of pistols, you're going to have your own preferences for sights, and I adore fiber optic sights, and I like the contrasting colors on these sights. I think that really helps you pick up that front sight faster.
Not only it does have that step ladder that you do like.
It does have the step ladder. If you know STI 1911s and 2011s, I guess is what they call them, they have the step on the back for the sights. It has the steps and the fiber optics. Super cool. I really like the sights these come with. So that's kind of my initial impressions of just, what I can feel and look at, but Andre is the real Hi Capa expert here, so what do you have to say?
For me personally, first off, I want to start off, I get a lot of comments all the time. I did have a picture on my Instagram about these pistols, and the biggest question I've always got is, will it work with the Tapazine? It absolutely will. It's just like a regular WE. It slips right in. You can have a 200 round Hi Capa magazine for your Hi Capa, so it'll fit no problem. But overall, it is going to be a little on the heavier side. So if you are used to the WE being a little heavier, they are going to be a little bit weighty. It's not so much about the finish of the slide itself. If you take the slide completely down, bare bones, it's actually really light. But it has to do a lot with the magazines. I feel like these mags are a little bit heavier than what standard WE comes with. And so when you start putting that in there, it starts getting really heavy. And that also has to contribute to the barrel. The barrels are actually really heavy for some reason. Not what I'm used to. A lot of my barrels are pretty lightweight, aluminum, 3D printed, etc. These ones are a little bit more weighty. Not something I'm a fan of. But still, nonetheless, right out of the box, it's fantastic. And again, like E-House said, the fiber optics just completes the series. If you guys know what WE comes with, usually their front and rear iron sights are welded on there, so you can't take them off. So being that these will be able to be taken off, so you can replace the rear sight with an RMR plate that's included with the box is actually really awesome. So if you don't like these sights, you can always switch them out to say AIP, 3D printed Kent's props with a racker. You can do all of that with the ArmorWorks pistol, which is absolutely fantastic. So there's no more struggling having to replace the slide from your WE. You can just slap new rear sights on here, no problem. Aside from that, it does have a very nice ergonomic pistol grip. These are a lot more ergonomic, more comfortable than what you're used to with standard TM Hi Capas or even Wii. So these are actually really comfortable. They're textured. Some of them have a little bit more.
I did notice the texturing on this one feels really good in my hand.
The one that he has in his hand are a little bit more finer stippling, aside from this one being very aggressive. There's a lot of deep dimples into here.
It's like a golf ball pattern.
It is golf ball pattern, you're correct. And then the trigger on this one, aside from all the other ones on the table, this one actually has the puzzle trigger. It's a mock puzzle trigger. It's actually completely welded together, but they've cut it out to make it look like a puzzle trigger, so it does actually look pretty decent, and it's a flat face trigger. So for those of you who like those flat face triggers, this one's going to come with it, and it also does have a hybrid slide, so which is actually really cool as well. So this whole finish is fantastic, and this one in particular shoots a lot different than the ones on the table. For some reason, I don't know what they've done with this particular model over those ones, but this one tends to shoot a lot nicer. It's more crisp. The trigger response is a lot better. I don't know what's different about this.
Might be the hybrid slide.
Could be the slide, but I have a feeling it has something to contribute with the magazine it's given, because it does have a red gasket aside from the other ones on the table, which are black. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's the mag.
Yeah, they might have done something different with the magazines. I wonder if that's going to be standard from now on, because I know these are a little bit older stock.
Yep, these are the version 1s, and this is now version 2 with an upgraded barrel on the inside. So this is going to be 603 with these ones, aside from these ones being 605.
I think that's one of the big strengths of the ArmorWorks line, if I look at it, is traditionally to get kind of what you wanted with a Hi Capa or with most pistols, you had to do a bit of customization.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that these guys are doing a good job of creating something that you can kind of pick what you want.
Exactly.
And then they have, obviously, their whole lineup of parts that you can use.
For
OEM parts support, that thing I'm always talking about. Thanks, ArmorWorks.
Absolutely, yeah. So they have all this on the table, aftermarket on their website. Some things are going to be a little, not a little, but they're not going to be available yet, as far as like this pistol grip is not available yet. And some of the accents on this pistol in particular are not ready yet. But most of the ones on the other side of the table here are ready and are purchasable on their website.
And for the most part, these are probably going to be compatible with most of the aftermarket Hi Capa parts.
My only concern with these ArmorWorks pistols is blowback unit. So if you break your blowback unit and you want to replace it with, like, say, Gunsmith Bro or something like a UAC, I'm not 100% sure if this will fit, because it is still OEM by WE, and so I'm not sure 100% if it will fit in the slide itself. Everything else looks to be fine. So you know, your inner barrels, your buckings, your outer barrels, everything looks compatible. It's just my biggest worry is the blowback unit. I haven't tried it yet, so I might have to pick one of these guys up and just start swapping parts around and see what fits and what doesn't.
Now, in terms of shooting, I mean, like you said, very crisp recoil in general.
On this one in particular. This one has very crisp ones. These ones are a little bit more laggy, in my opinion.
They're not bad compared to most airsoft pistols on the market.
I was shooting them with 2.5s, and I found that it's right out of the box. It's already set for 2.5s.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm used to shooting my FNX, and my FNX is it's a big beast, you know. The slide might be a little laggy compared to what Andre's used to. So then I pick up some of these with a little bit of lighter slide, and these seem to have pretty nice recoil springs in them too. So they do shoot fast. If you want to shoot fast, these will shoot fast. Again,
fast
like
enough.
I said that. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be, you'll have to short stroke them.
The trigger. Mostly the trigger and the leaf spring on the back. That'll give you more crisp response, and it'll give you more or less recoil. So
I was looking at the recoil spring too.
Yes.
Because a stiffer recoil spring and a short stroke, that'll really make it cycle faster.
Yeah, but you don't want to go too stiff.
No, you don't want it, because then you'll wreck
I wouldn't
your
go
gas
anything
efficiency.
over 125, anything like that. I wouldn't go too much heavier. I've seen nightmares where people blow out their spring guys straight up front. Wow, crazy.
Another thing worth mentioning is that these do come with a 14mm mock suppressor adapter.
They sure do.
So if you like that look of like the Hitman style with the, well, I mean, technically those are AMT hardballers, but whatever. If you like the Hitman style, like 1911 or Hi Capa with the suppressor on the end, They've got you covered.
Yep.
You'll definitely want to use some Loctite on those threads that it comes with, though.
So it also does come with a hammer pin. So if you don't like the magwell on this, you can replace it. They give you an extra pin for it, so you can swap it out if need be. And also comes with the screws for the RMR as well.
So you can take these magwells off too, is what you're saying.
Yep,
so they do allow you that extra little bit of customization.
Yep, sure do.
So I mean, I guess the closing thoughts on these is basically going to be. These are going to be a good contender if you're looking for something that out of the box is going to be a little different from what you're used to on the Hi Capa and airsoft pistol market in general. And it's going to offer you a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more options. If I had to give one major criticism of these just thus far looking at them, I'm sure other people are going to have different opinions. I don't love the color of the blue and the red on this guy.
It's very...
It looks kind of cheap,
yeah,
and it looks
like spray painted almost.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna start flaking off, and I don't love the colors that they went with. Now that's obviously gonna be a matter of personal taste, but for me, I much prefer, and just for my preferences in general, I like the cleaner looks with the two-tone. This guy is even a little flashy for me, but I think that I like the way they did the red a lot better on this guy. The gold looks pretty good. Again, a little flashy for my personal taste, but I can appreciate that it's well done.
Very good. And I like the designs they came up with. I mean, these are really aggressive. You got the whole serration straight through the slide and to the frame itself. So it all matches up and it lines up perfectly. So
and the machining is pretty clean all throughout, because if you look close here, you can see that these serrations all match from the frame to the slide.
So nothing's off and everything looks pretty clean.
Yeah, so the quality control and all that kind of stuff seems very solid, which is a good, pleasant surprise for a WE OEM pistol.
Yeah.
But again, you know, once you have a different company contracting a factory, and that external company is going to be conducting their own quality control and doing their own fitting and their own testing, that's where you're going to find the differences in the quality, because WE might not put out this kind of level of stuff on their own, but once you have a third party involved that says, hey, we want you to make this, but we want you to make it our way. I think that's what we're seeing here, is what WE can do when a passionate group of, because that's the thing with the Armor Works guys, they're a passionate group of Hi Capa enthusiasts.
Yep, for sure.
And I think what we're seeing here is what happens when those guys just direct a factory to make the Hi Capas they want to make.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if you don't like any of these colors, they're all swappable. I mean, you can swap barrels between each other, magwells, whatever. It's all swappable. And if you don't want to, you know, buy two of the same ones, you can always just buy one that you kind of like. Like, let's say you like that blue slide, but you're not a huge fan of the red. You can just swap that out with other parts from on the market, like UAC and stuff. It'll all fit on there, no problem.
All right. So, I think that about does it for the Armor Works pistols.
Absolutely. First impressions.
Yeah. If you're looking, you know, again, long-term durability reports will be forthcoming, but the first impressions are these seem like a solid option on the market if you're looking for something that's a bit different and if you want a race gun. Yeah,
and if you're kind of into this kind of style and you want to continue upgrading, but you're on a budget, perfect ones to pick up, aside from, you know, TM or WE OEM ones.
Yep.
All right, I'm Andre.
And I'm E-House.
And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.